Welcome back to Book Readings for Life is Magic Part 1, Listen to the Universe. The previous readings from this book are available as a playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. If you'd like to get a signed copy of the book, you can order it off my website, robfalgiano.com. You can also order them off of Amazon, though those ones aren't necessarily signed unless you ask for it. So, Chapter 20 is called Hot Hands, Healing, Remote Viewing, and Crystals. Picking up off Chapter 19. As mentioned, when Chrissy was in her mid-20s in the 1990s, before she got into spiritualism, her dad Gary spent a full summer in the psychic hamlet community of Lilydale on the Cassadaga Lakes in southwestern New York State. Excuse me. Lilydale is about 90 minutes south of Buffalo. It's a popular summer vacation destination where many psychics reside and practice year-round. There are daily group activities in their summer amphitheater, with opportunities for visitors to receive messages from deceased loved ones via mediums, much like at the Mr. Mustache Show. Excuse me. So sorry. Guest lectures also appear throughout the season to discuss various spiritual topics. Private readings take place daily in the various psychics' homes which surround the campus. My mom and I have been there a few times. Chrissy said that her dad gravitated towards Native American spiritual beliefs and was mainly interested in healing practices. She recalled one childhood Christmas when she'd had a headache. Gary put his hands up to her temples. They were unusually warm to the touch, and her headache immediately went away, to her surprise. Many years later, as an adult, Chrissy was gifted a large crystal by a friend. She showed it to her dad at the kitchen table. It fit in the palm of her hands, which were cold. When her dad held the crystal, he focused his energy into it. Within a few minutes, it was hot, and she used it to warm her own hands. She couldn't believe the amount of heat he had apparently generated and transferred. When Gary was hospitalized near the end of his life in 2009, Chrissy held his hands for comfort. Ironically, this time it was Gary who said that holding her hand was a bit too hot. Chrissy's sister held Gary's other hand but didn't feel anything. Perhaps the heat was a unique aspect of Gary and Chrissy's relationship. Excuse me. It's not lost on me that Chrissy makes her living as a massage therapist, which is like a continuation of the family lineage. As with her dad, Chrissy's hands are an apparent conduit for healing. We all know how much energy there is in touch, whether it be a hug or a nice foot rub. As physical beings, it's one of the strongest ways we communicate. And when a good massage therapist or Reiki practitioner cleans you out, the old stale energy is dispatched and your body feels renewed and fresh. When Gary died, Chrissy immediately recognized subtle signs that he was around, like when a piece of paper with his handwriting that said, "I love you," showed up mysteriously on her kitchen table after she arrived home from the memorial service. A few months after Gary's passing, Chrissy took more spiritual development classes. Many spiritual shops around Buffalo offer them. I've never taken one, though I might someday, or online. Chrissy had previously been told of gypsy ancestors and that all of the women on her family's side of the family... Chrissy had previously been told of gypsy ancestors and that all the women on her father's side of the family had psychic ability. This is when Chrissy first learned to recall her dreams and soon realized she had been having premonitions about events that appeared later on the news. This path eventually led her to work with Find Me, which feels fated. A few years ago, Chrissy's Aunt Jackie hired a medium named Frank Lord to give private readings for family members at a house party. That evening, all of Chrissy's deceased relatives came through the medium to visit with the assembled family. Chrissy's dad, Gary, didn't arrive until the very end. When Gary told Lord about the heat that came from his hands, Lord relayed the message to Chrissy. It was further confirmation that Gary was really there and had crossed over successfully. Lord also affirmed Chrissy's psychic abilities. He told her, "You're always open even when you think you're not." It rang true for me, she said. Lord also told her that Gary said she could find some old recordings with his voice on them for comfort if she wanted. When COVID-19 broke out in early 2020 and quarantine was widespread, Chrissy dug up the DVDs of her dad. It was indeed calming to hear his voice again. Okay, there's a short chapter break, a little dash, dash, dash in the text. New thought. Chrissy's dad's apparent ability to channel energy as heat reminded me of some old videos I came across on YouTube about the Malaysian electric eel man, John Chang. He was featured in a 1977 British documentary film. Chang was known as a healer in his community and claimed to be able to help patients by employing energized acupuncture. Chang said that via meditation, he had learned to focus the energy stores in his lower chakras, the yin-yang polarity, he called it, from the rectum, aka the root chakra, up to the lower intestines, the solar plexus chakra, center of wisdom and power, and into his hands to help relieve pain in others. The brother of the British filmmaker interviewed traveled with the film crew in hopes that Chang could cure him of a bad eye infection. While Chang performed acupuncture on him, the man jittered about involuntarily like he was being electrocuted. Chang indeed appeared to be able to send energy from his hands through the acupuncture needles and into the ailing man. As further example of Chang's abilities, another man who witnessed the procedure shook hands with him. Chang heated his hand the way Gary did with Chrissy. Sorry. I'm uploading the other video I just made at the same time as I'm reading this. Multitasking. Sorry. Okay. As further example of Chang's abilities, another man who witnessed the procedure shook hands with him. Chang heated his hand the way Gary did with Chrissy until the man recoiled in surprise and laughter at the burn. A skeptical camerawoman then touched Chang's stomach, the area from which he claimed to help generate and transfer energy, and within a second withdrew her hand as if from a hot stove. Chang was emphatic that the energy he focused into his hands was very strong and could be used either to heal or to harm. To demonstrate, he set his hands above a crumpled pile of newspapers and focused his attention upon it. Within a few seconds, boom, the papers burst into flames. Again, this was all part of the documentary footage, and it was pretty convincing. I'm inclined to believe Chang, Chrissy, and her father are able to channel energy from their chakras into heat as healing energy. After all, everything around us is energy, including every atom in the human body. Per Chang, the most important thing is the motives of the person who has mastered this incredible skill. What will he, she, it use it for? To help others or for purely personal gain? Healing or malice? Chrissy sometimes wonders how her dad may have employed this gift during his many years estranged from her and the family. It's likely he honored his stated intent of using it to help others as part of what is seemingly still a sacred, deeply mysterious tradition. Okay, then there's a little chapter break here. Pause for coffee. Okay. Chrissy and I stayed in touch in the lead up to the election of the 45th President of the United States in 2016, whose name I try not to use because he is undeserving of respect and recognition. None of us knew then how thoroughly destructive 45 would be over the course of his term, but Chrissy told me shortly after the election about a brief vision she'd had before he'd even taken office, in which the White House was empty, nobody home. Even though 45 had just won, it was as if the residence was vacated. She wondered if perhaps 45 would somehow not make it to the inauguration, or perhaps he wouldn't last long in office. Neither of those things came to be. I kept the thought tucked away. Then almost 3.5 years later, in May 2020, Chrissy told me that a friend of hers named Christine, also a Find Me psychic, had just posted on social media about a vision she'd had of something significant occurring by August, which would effectively end 45's presidency. August came and went without incident, but Christine made a second prediction in the early fall that 45 would die within 2 weeks' time. She definitely went out on a limb with that one. This also did not occur, but what did occur instead was almost as crazy. The president's brother died in the exact 2-week time frame instead. It appears that Christine did pick up a substantial event in 45's life. Given that the president's brother bore some resemblance to him and they were not far apart in age, it's possible that Christine had a vision of the brother's death instead, but mistook him for 45. How interesting and strange. It's a reminder that psychic communications are often inherently perfect and subject to misinterpretation since psychics are imperfectly human. I don't think this alters the profundity. What are the chances of Christine predicting such a thing and being so nearly correct? Of course, all good psychics give credit to their spirit guides and angels, since intuitive information is ultimately gifted to them from the other side. Psychics can also work and practice to improve their connectivity, and everyone is at least a bit psychic. The psychics have a gift, but without the assistance of spirit, it likely could not manifest. And so too, I acknowledge that much of what I've experienced, intuited, and written about must be the work of spirit and a form of collaboration, for which I am very grateful. And that concludes chapter 20. So, going to close this video up. When I looked up, it was 11:11 exactly. So now that has passed. So I'm going to take that as another good sign, because all I've been seeing all week is ones everywhere. So I'll close this chapter down and maybe come back for chapter 21 today or very soon. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you soon.